Hi, everyone, and welcome to The Experts by Dr. Jenelle Kim. I am here today. I think this is my first podcast where I have two people, and not just two people. I have two amazing, extraordinary people, and it is a husband and wife, knockout team that we were just discussing. We'll get into this. We've known each other for quite some years and we've come back into each other's energy and universe. Yes. And so I'm so excited to learn even more about both of you because you have quite an amazing story, which I will go into, and for all of you to learn. So before I begin, I want to read a bit of their bio if you don't know who they are already. I am with Anthony and Tereza Lolli. They are the visionary husband and wife founders of Biohack Yourself Media, which I always genuinely love the outfit. So I'm like, I need to do that because then it's also a uniform and I don't have to think about what I'm wearing. An independent platform transforming how people understand and access biohacking science. Anthony Lolli is a film director, CEO of Lolli Brands Entertainment, and editor-in-chief of Biohack Yourself Media, which I will show you in a sec. He's also the author of Heart of the Deal and a proud husband and father of your two beautiful children, whom I met in Miami. Tereza Lolli is founder and editor-in-chief of Biohack Yourself Media, vice president of Lolli Brands Entertainment, a filmmaker, two-time pro athlete, we have to get to that, Tereza, and devoted wife and mother. Some of the most important roles. Together, they filmed over 100 interviews with leading scientists, doctors, and innovators, bridging the gap between academia and the everyday person seeking better health. Their work honors the pioneers of regenerative medicine while redefining wellness storytelling through authenticity, curiosity, and so much heart. So I am so happy to have you both here.
Thank you.
And I can't wait to dive in.
Yes.
Thank you.
So you live in Florida or on the East Coast, and you're spending time here on the West Coast, also known as the Best Coast. I'm just joking.
No, we were just talking about the weather and the air. Beautiful. It was so beautiful.
Yes, although I truly enjoyed my time when I was in Miami. But okay, so where do we begin? I mean, I really loved hearing you, Tereza, on the panel that we were on together, kind of dive into how you got here. So I would love to start there. And of course, we love flow. We are of the Tao. So jump in anytime, Anthony.
Sure.
But tell me, I always love to kind of go way back,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Way back.
Yeah, way back. Because,
very simple and humble upbringing in Armenia. Yeah. After the collapse of the Soviet Union, grew up very, very humble. Little to eat. No electricity, no television, which was the best thing that ever happened to me. And I think the first time I laid my eyes on screen was probably when I was 12. So we had us, the world, and our imagination all day long. Unlimited curiosity and a ton of sports, entertainment, classes. It was one of those situations where my very traditional grandma would say to my mom, they're going to be jack of all trades and a master of none because you're sending them to too many classes. But my mother had the opposite vision of giving us access to everything and anything that she could reach.
That's beautiful.
That we could potentially, take a bus and get to or walk to. So, just remembering my life, I was a ping pong champion at the age of 9.
Oh my gosh, you don't hear that all the time. Okay, I hope that's on your resume.
And I mean, that really shaped me.
Absolutely.
Believe it or not.
I'm not joking either. We have young children, and that kind of, it's brain development, it's hand-eye, it's all the things. IQ.
And confirmed by Dr. Danielle Amen that ping pong is the best sport for brain development, and now also pickleball and tennis as well. You can't really find too much ping pong classes here in the States. In Armenia, it's like every next corner is a ping pong sport complex, but not here. So pickleball is actually a good replacement for that. But anyway, competitive swimmer, competitive Latin ballroom dancer.
Oh, I love that.
Concert pianist, soloist as a singer. I mean, literally anything I could get my hands on, I was doing that. And I became really competitive with myself. And I think I still carry those traits till today. Unlimited curiosity, unlimited energy of doing things, and put a deadline for me and I'm going to reach it. Put a competition for me and I'm going to, he knows that now we're competing with our vitals. I'm like, hey, what's your biomarkers?
Oh my gosh,
and
I love that.
Literally, whatever we're into, we gamify it, and which is so beautiful. It makes it fun. It engages the entire family. This is how we do biohacking together. But growing up in such a humble environment really helped me appreciate life, health, the simpleness. And I feel like I really grew up as a biohacker. We would ground very often. We would be in cold weather in cold weather. We would be in hot weather, and there was no air conditioning. Like our bodies adjusted to the four seasons, learn to adapt, be flexible, and everything like that. So fast forward, I accomplished a lot in my youth in Armenia, but then when I moved to the States when I was 20, I came here for greatness. I said, this is the best country in the world with the most amount of opportunities, with the most amount of doors that I can get into. So what am I going to make out of it, right?
Yes.
So I did a few traditional things like graduating from college, doing this, doing that, just to have my backup plan like my parents always wanted. So out of respect for my traditional upbringing, my father was a math professor, very renowned, book publisher, author, my mother, math teacher. So math was everything for us growing up. I actually even went to the #1 math and physics high school. So a lot of math, a lot of everything, there's all these values instilled in me. And I'm so grateful for that. And we raise our kids with a lot of those values, similar values. When I met Anthony, very... organically, serendipity, whatever you want to call it, quantumly, it was meant to happen.
Yes.
Because the more we go back, the more we see how we ended up in the same place at the same time. It was so not meant to be. It was so not scheduled, but we were forced to change our location and our timing to be there at the same time.
Absolutely.
So we met, and as luck would have it, we found the same interests with each other.
Yes.
The more we carried on with our relationship, the more our relationship grew into a family, into a husband and wife, into a father and a mother. We found ourselves more and more addicted to each other, and we wanted to do things together all the time.
Absolutely.
In fact, he was running one of the most successful real estate empires in New York, which he grew from 1 to 100 locations. It was a franchise company. He'll talk about it a little bit more. He had that. He was a best-selling author. Like he had his life, and I had my life. I was a recording artist working with, trying to sign a deal with Warner Brothers. I was in negotiations. I was in film. I was on Netflix with Corey Feldman. I did a bunch of acting gigs, and I was in Manhattan for something great. But when we met each other, it was like obsession at first sight. And first we were friends, but it was so cosmic that we both decided he exited his company. I stopped all of my stuff, and we actually got married. We had our 2 kids.
Yes.
They became our project, so to speak.
Of course, your world.
Love and legend. And then it was funny because at the time we should have been, flushed with cash, just had a successful exit. I didn't have any distractions with music or acting, and we had our 2 children, right? We were supposed to just vacation and enjoy our lives.
Yes.
And we got hit with all these health concerns.
Yes.
Right, at that time, like the peak of our happiness,
Such is
My
life.
husband
Here
was
we go.
at 315 pounds. My son was misdiagnosed 7 times. Our daughter had a major lymph node on her neck, which people were saying, oh my gosh, it's going to become cancer. You got to take a surgery, blah, blah, blah. All the fear mongering.
Yes.
And then me, myself, postpartum insanity with a lot of, not so much hormonal, but it was all autoimmune conditions that just hit me. Eczema, rashes, craziness.
Of course.
So all 4 of us.
Eastern medicine, by the way,
What is
that's
it?
The Eastern medicine, the ancient medicines. I have to stop for a second because I never really have a natural moment to bring this up. But, I'm always a huge proponent of bridging, of course, to East and West. I'm a living example. My mother is, American, but Polish, German. My father's Korean. Yeah. So by nature, I say, and that's one thing, like as you're saying that, a lot of times in the Western modern culture, it will be hormones. It will be, it really focuses on that. And there are times where that's not necessarily. And then it's hard for people. They don't understand what's going on. And that's the scariest part. Yeah. But in Eastern medicine, especially after you have a baby, I mean, there are things, even in the culture, whether they say it's ancient medicine or not, that you do that are very important. Very important after having a child. And all the things you just said are related to, we can have a whole other time. I'm not going to take that right now. But what you're saying, a lot of skin conditions, it mentally really affects us in many, many ways. A little bit more extreme, sometimes a lot more extreme than, because no matter what, a new mom feels things. But absolutely. I appreciate you acknowledging that because it's important. But please, yes.
It was, I would say would you say it was like health rock bottom for our entire family?
Well, yeah, because it's all of us at the same time.
Okay. Yeah.
So, it was as far as I was concerned, this was part 2 because I had already tried to lose weight and I did a gastric sleeve, which kind of failed. It worked. I lost 50 pounds and I gained 70.
Right.
I actually didn't fix the real root of the problem, which was all mental when you need to lose weight. So I had been in a worse physical condition. I was getting sleep apnea. I lost all my muscle mass because you can't really absorb foods now. And it was going downhill. And then, of course, with our son and our daughter, and then Tereza was, depleted. We then decided to do a docuseries where, she competed 32 times on stage while breastfeeding the kids.
I saw this.
It was nuts.
You're so beautiful.
very
For anyone who
committed.
can't see this,
Yeah.
she's so beautiful and amazing.
Thank you.
Truly the complete
I read
package,
somewhere
but-
that, the best food for brain development is breast milk.
Yeah.
So I was committed to breastfeeding
yes.
for as long as I could.
Of course, myself
My
as
kids,
well.
even right now, they're like, I wouldn't mind breastfeeding. I'm like, guys, you're 8. But, they
no,
were
mommy's
so attached to that concept.
Oh.
And I think it worked because their brains are sharp.
Yes, if we can as women, I did the same for at least, a year. Some cannot, and that's understood. And, there's ways to understand that. Again, maybe another episode or conversation.
Or you can biohack breast milk also because breast
Yes.
milk is all about demand and supply.
Yes.
If you allow your child to latch on and demand,
Yes.
your body is meant to supply it.
Yes.
It's all those pumps and all these artificial things that come into play, and they start replacing that demand that
Of
your
course.
breast thinks,
Yes.
you know what? It's done. Like,
Yes.
I don't need to supply. So there's a lot of
Absolutely.
biohacking
as
that
well
can happen.
as, okay, I'm going to keep taking this opportunity because I know our communities really appreciate this.
Yes.
But also in Eastern medicine, we are yin beings, right? So everything is yin and yang. That's the Tao. Taoist immortals. That's it. Or the original biohackers. So there'll be an article in your magazine for people interested.
Yes.
That where I'm talking
love to
10,000
read
years
it,
ago. And, these principles never change. But as yin beings, that is literally gives us the ability to have children. It makes us more complex. It gives us to all the men, what people don't know is my husband's in the room and he never usually is. So it's perfect timing. But you're yang beings with all of that strength. But the yin strength is a complex strength enough that we can have children, right?
Yes.
So just we get the picture here.
Yeah.
But when it comes to yin beings, we are blood beings where yang is energy, chi, right? Vital energy. So it's so important for us. And that's kind of what I was referring to before. So maybe we knew we were coming to this point.
Yeah.
But we have got to make sure that we are warm, like literally in our digestive system, and that's a much longer conversation, so that we can build a lot of blood. Yin is blood and body fluids. And so when you have a baby, a lot of times, they take so much as we're the moms.
Yeah.
And so also in this modern culture, because many people do not know the proper eating habits to nourish and build blood. Literally, that's all you hear in Eastern medicine, especially when you're pregnant or having a baby, or for women in general. You have to build blood. And it's so much deeper than this. But in short, one of the things is that because a lot of people, we don't get enough sleep, we don't eat properly. I say we, but quite frankly, I know these things. I'm grateful. So I do focus on these things. Also calming ourselves, that all taxes us of our circulation and blood. And blood exactly relates to milk.
Blood is life.
Right? And so, your hair, your nails, that's all like extensions of blood, as they say. So it's an interesting thing.
That story, there was a story that shocked me, and I was actually pregnant with love when I read that story. There was a grandma.
Right?
Basically, her daughter passed away at birth.
Right.
But she knew how committed the daughter was to breastfeeding the child. So the grandma actually stimulated her nipples enough to create milk to feed that child in the honor of her daughter.
Oh,
And so once I read that, I was like, wow, if a grandma can, without pregnancy, without giving birth, you can actually stimulate your body to understand. And there was a lot of skin to skin, because once the baby's skin to skin to you, there's
like
also
literally
chemical
our
stuff
body, our
happening.
mind, our spirit knows kick in. And she must have been healthy and eating properly. Seriously.
Yes.
Because that's a whole part of it.
Yeah.
So.
He did a lot of skin to skin too.
Yeah, so it's
Both of our
important. I
kids.
hear you. Yeah, we did as well. I mean,
It's real.
Yes. Okay. So I didn't mean to cut you off, but these are an important thing when you talk about this kind of stuff.
So look, we'll talk about the documentaries and how
please.
everything came about, but I wanted to give Anthony also a chance to talk
I would
about
love
his
to know.
incredible background in business and success and everything he had in his life except for one thing, which was health.
Yes.
But he didn't think he didn't have it. Maybe you can talk about that.
That's key.
Well, you know, health is the real wealth, really.
Yes.
Ultimately, when we met each other, we were, I guess, on the same mindset on all things, including how we wanted to raise our children, except for health. You know, I was really not the good example. And, you know, I've accomplished so much. I could not nip this one thing in the bud. And it was really getting out of hand. She mentioned my book, The Heart of the Deal.
Yes.
It sold 550,000 copies in 6 months. Why? Because I did a bunch of world tours.
Of course.
I spoke on
It's not
stages.
easy. I know.
And what was interesting was there were people in the audience that were there. This is business audience because it's about real estate and all that kind of stuff. But there were a few doctors. There were a few doctors in the audience. And one doctor, kind of almost similar to you, she came up to me. She goes, I love everything you said. Seems you got everything, but you don't have your health.
Yes.
She looked at me with concern. And I was like, you know what? It's hard to really...
True doctor.
Right. This is a true doctor. But this was just one of many different signs. I mean, you know, Tereza had been on my back about losing weight from the dating stage. I mean, it was... I had to go through...
Number 3 was in the doctor's office.
In the doctor's office. She was really wanting to see, you know, preparing, because if she is going to, you know, plant her roots in this relationship,
of course.
Want to make sure. Yeah. So I kept passing those tests. You know, I was fatletic, as there's an expression.
Mentally, he was so strong.
Of course, you push through.
This doesn't matter.
And but she was really, really adamant about it. You know, we had our daughter. She was still a baby, and you know, was still, you know, getting fatter, and it was bad. It was bad, but
it wasn't as bad as when we had our son.
Right.
And then with our son, not sleeping, right? His issue was not sleeping. People always ask me, like, how did you know to even start taking him to doctors or doing studies on him, right?
Right.
Simple. Our daughter was amazing. She slept through the night at the age of 4 months. She would like sleep all the way till 8 a.m. So to me, was I spoiled with love? Maybe, or she was maybe just the perfect baby, right? How it's supposed to be. We never sleep trained. She nursed when she wanted to. She co-slept with us. Everything was just perfect.
That's the first. They come in, they do this, they trick us. I'm just joking.
They trick us. And then you're like, oh my gosh, this is great. Let's have more.
That way too. He's like the best. I'm like, oh gosh, I can definitely do this.
Yeah, totally.
Different.
And I always tell my son, so I actually had a miscarriage right before my son.
Yes.
It's funny because right now when my son argues with us, you know, you're too controlling. You don't let me eat this. You don't let me eat that. I'm like, you chose me. You even went as far as kicking that other poor baby out of my belly to be here with us. So your soul chose us for a reason. So like obey and listen.
We're also traditional. We come from traditional roots.
Yes, totally. But you know, it was so weird that every 40 minutes he was up.
Yeah, that's extreme.
It was extreme. And by the time he was 5 months old, I was like, this is not working out.
You're right.
I'm going to look into it. So the first one was the lactation consultant that I went to.
Yes.
The lactation consultant looked at it and said, you know what? He has a lip tie and a tongue tie.
Yes.
What the heck is that? Well, I was actually taking too much folic acid during my pregnancy because I decided to continue to nurse my daughter. So in order to maintain a lot of vitamins, I was advised to take too much folic acid.
And that's a key that I actually speak about quite often, a little bit different than some. You know, I'm a huge proponent of supplements. I'm an herbologist by trade. I mean, that's one of the things that's been handed down for 9 generations, that understanding. Yeah. And oftentimes I do feel, especially because we're kind of in an extreme, 20 years ago, when I talked about herbs or, you know, any of the biohacking, longevity, you know, ancient practices that are coming to modern day. Yes. Yeah. However, now people are so aware, and I'm grateful, but you know, just because it's natural does not mean that it's balanced for your body. And that's key. So then sometimes people will show up in front of me or take pictures or whatever it is and show me all of the vitamins that they have. And so it's a little bit different than maybe a lot of people out there. And you know,
if you have a leaky gut, you're not absorbing those.
That's the thing. You can have the best, and even in skincare. You know, I'm a manufacturer by trade. I make products for the brands out there. Clean beauty. We did it way before there's such a thing. But what I speak of, even when it comes to skincare, which, by the way, your lung is your largest, your skin is your largest organ, right? If you don't formulate properly, you can have the best ingredients in the world, but it does not mean that your body is absorbing them. And furthermore, you can cause imbalance. Yeah. So let it be known.
And that's basically what happened to Legend, because he actually had the 2 copies of the MTHFR gene mutation. Yes. And obviously the folic acid, he wasn't absorbing it, methylating it. So it ended up giving him the lip tie, tongue tie.
Yes.
So we ended up getting it released.
Yes.
Which helped with nursing a lot.
Of course.
Things got a little bit better, but still wasn't there. So, I ended up taking him to 7 different doctors because 1 is never enough, 2 is not enough. To me, it's like 10 is good enough. Get 10 answers, especially when it comes to your kids. Yeah.
We say it at the same time. See?
Yeah.
We're connected.
But you know what it is? You go to legitimate doctors, legitimate hospitals, and you get 7 completely different diagnoses.
I know.
How is that even possible?
I know.
I was looking at Anthony. I was like, this is crazy. And he thought I'm driving myself crazy. I'm driving our son crazy. But I think the medical industry was driving me crazy by not giving. I would have settled if it was 2 same answers, right?
Well, the thing about it is, because of the position I was in relationships, I had access. So some of the real top medical doctors are booked and busy.
Yes, of course.
For years out. So I had to call a lot of friends to get even access to these people. And that's us. Imagine a regular people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so what made it very scary was this was the head of such and such in the hospital saying this, and then the head of such and such, like really, really world-renowned doctors giving several different diagnoses, which was really scary because they got the reps.
I know. I'm quiet in a moment because I actually just walked through a very interesting kind of circumstance with one of the closest people to me, where it was a big scare. I won't get into it right now. And some of the best doctors, and we experienced something very similar.
Right.
Okay? And so I just want to take a note. I want to be thoughtful about what I'm about to say, because I have to believe, human beings are human beings. So you're going to have some who are just not in touch with being a human being. Let's put it that way. Yeah. But to me, I have to believe that doctors, they do care. Very much so, and there's a lot of things that they have to walk through outside of being a doctor and healing their patients that they have to also work with. Okay, all that aside, these doctors actually said to me, which I'm aware of, and understand that one of the big differences, for lack of a better way of putting it, between modern medicine and ancient medicine, right? I'm coming, of course, from a root of ancient. I very much appreciate modern medicine for testing, for certain treatments. Are you kidding? Antibiotics, when necessary, there is a place. But so kind of in conclusion, one way you can differentiate these medicines, and I've heard you already say it, ancient medicine, by nature, we look at the root. We always look at the root cause. And then sometimes it takes a while. Sometimes you have to follow the whole path. It's a very interactive path between the doctor and the patient, but also you as a patient, because no one knows you but you, equals Biohack Yourself. Yeah. And then just, again, to finish this up, modern medicine by nature, they do kind of the opposite. In some ways, that can be beautiful, right? East, west, that's the whole spectrum. But they focus on not the root. They focus on the symptoms. They focus on the matter at hand, the emergency, a lot of times. So I know that that's one of the reasons, as many of these doctors even shared in my experience that I just walked through with one of my closest, they recognize this. Yeah. And that's why now, at least, they are speaking a lot more to each other. But it doesn't surprise me. I just saw the same with all the love and respect and understanding. But we have to understand that exists. Because as you just said, Anthony, and I appreciate that this is coming out right now, it hit me when I sat in that hospital room for 2 weeks and we didn't necessarily know what was going on. I had an understanding. But people have to know that you have to be aware. The doctors were saying, they were amazing doctors. You better be aware. You advocate for, this person.
You are your own health.
You have to follow your gut. That's one thing Tereza did. Like
I was going to say that the whole time.
She really instinctually, as a mom, she knew. It's easy to give up because first of all, it's tiring. It was very costly. I think it was $250,000, $250,000.
$250,000 of research on our son.
Of course.
And then there's confirmation bias too, right? You want to believe that what this person is saying is true. You want, and they sound so convincing.
Yes. And there's probably truth to it, maybe.
Probably. Well, to a hammer, everything looks like a nail.
Yes.
So they're going to be very sure about their strategy and their approach.
And their expertise. That's the difference. They're experts in their field.
Yeah. Correct.
That was one of the keys.
And so it all boils down to it's a treasure hunt, right? It's like a scavenger hunt. You have to follow your gut, and you have to be a health detective and really figure out the root cause and solve this mystery, right? Like you said. And then, so for Tereza, it was 10 people. And
10. So after the 7 misdiagnoses, I turned the functional medicine route. Somehow I came across the Autoimmune Fix by Dr. Tom O'Brien. That book completely changed my life. I came across Dr. Steve Gundry's work and his videos and YouTube videos. And Vishen Lakhiani. So those 3 guys, they were his alarm clock.
It's funny, when we interviewed them, all 3 of them for Biohack Yourself.
Yes.
And, I was listening to them talk before we were setting up, and there was a lot of behind the scenes stuff. I'm listening. I'm like, these voices sound so familiar. And I'm like, oh, and she's like,
Anthony,
yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, I was just, it was Tom O'Brien at 4 a.m, 4 to 5 a.m, right? And then it was Dr. Steve Gundry, 5 to 6, and then it was Vision, 6 to 7.
Mindfulness,
all of a
mindset,
sudden, the Tupperware's
everything.
gone, no more plastics, right? That was
literally those
Tom
were my
O'Brien
guys.
stuff.
Yeah, they
and so when I was interviewing them during the interview, I was like, wait a minute, it's you guys I was listening to when I'm asleep. I was sleeping. She was up as a mom.
I ended up casting them in our documentary.
Yeah.
What a
they
beautiful...
changed our entire lives.
Yeah.
And I remember finding about functional medicine doctors, and I was like, oh, so what's the difference between a naturopath, between an alternative doctor?
So key, people don't
between
know this.
Functional medicine. It was like many. So I was like, well, they're probably just all the same. This is what I thought at that time. They're different than...
Many people think.
Right. So I said, if I went to 7 legitimate doctors, then I must take 10 of these opinions because, I don't even know if they're accredited or anything like that. So let me see. And the funny thing was that at least 5 of them agreed on what was going on. It was mold infection in our son.
You go. The root.
And the root.
Cause.
And he had the MTHFR gene mutation, so he wasn't able to detox and break down. Where is the mold? I'm looking everywhere. We drove ourselves crazy. I had 4 stories of bathrooms ripped apart. Our home was a construction site. Nope, it wasn't there. It was in the HVAC system.
Right, there you go. Mm-hmm.
So once we found out, of course, the herbalist that I found, Nina, she just completely detoxed him out of the mold. Within 3 months, we had a complete different child.
No, but you also went down the herbalist rabbit hole as well.
Of course.
She met with 10 herbalists.
Yes.
And they were the ones that came closest. So when we decided to go with this one herbalist, she then asked the other 9, what do you think about her protocol? And they all said it's really good.
I almost I put a board of advisors on the group. And even though
100%.
some of these doctors were very hard to get, like you have to talk on the portal and then wait for a appointment. But somehow I was able to help them feel for me.
Yes.
And somehow they looked at each other's protocols.
I love that.
And I got the best of the protocol out of all of them. I even got the bottles, 40 different bottles, tiny bottles that I was able to mix into a big concoction and know exactly what I'm giving to our son. And he completely transformed. Today, he's a successful child actor at the age of 7.
I know. I was just with
real
him.
estate.
Has the personality.
In 2 days, in 2 days he's going to be. So he filmed. This is the kid that was supposed to be autistic, right? He did multiple movies, commercials. You've seen him now. He's one of the roaming journalists, right?
Yes, I love it.
He did a movie with Martin Scorsese's daughter,
Francesca
Scorsese, that premiered at the Cannes Film Festival at Tribeca.
Yeah, it's called Fish Out of Water.
So we were in the theater with Martin and the daughter and the mom and the whole Scorsese family. And Martin loved Legends acting. He's a really good actor. Our daughter is as well.
Yes.
They're 2 different styles. All of a sudden, Robert De Niro is doing a piece about him, his life, his legacy.
Past
it's like
goes
this
fast.
is going to be the feather in his cap, right? Because he's getting ready to retire. He chose Legend. He insisted. We said, we're traveling. We're in LA. We're
chose
filming.
Legend to play his younger self.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah.
So I'm traveling literally in 2 days. I'm going to be in New York on set with Robert De Niro
gosh, you
for
guys,
Legend.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
But can you imagine? Lights out.
I know.
Dark life.
And we also...
Our marriage would have
been, This hurts families. We were just with Gary Brecka. He's on the cover of our other magazine. He's in our Shield documentary. We were just with him in at the Xenos Health Conference in Saudi Arabia. We can't thank him enough because he did one podcast that Tereza happened to watch before he was the famous Gary that he is now.
Well, he was starting to pop up on my, because I was already on that algorithm. I was looking. Right.
Well, we did a documentary where Elena Cardone was in the Super Lollis.
Yes.
And it was in and around that time that they started getting involved in 10X.
Somehow
it was in the algorithms.
Gary Brecka's information.
And so he mentioned the MTHFR gene mutation.
At the same time as I was suggested to do a gene test from Max Genetics at the time, that was the best one, I think. Right now we have actually better tests, but it came up and I read about the MTHFR gene mutation. Then further, I listened to Gary Brecka's podcast and I was like, oh my gosh, this thing is legit. This thing does affect somebody's life. And it's okay that you may be on forever methylated supplements because you want to live optimized.
And that's a different circumstance. Right. Kind of going back to what we talked about before. Yes.
For me, it was a little bit hard to believe that, oh my gosh, he's going to be on forever supplements for genetic mutations, whatever. But then understanding that it's not a mutation, it's an human expression, and also understanding that we are now generationally potentially breaking our genes with the Wi-Fi, with the all the pollution and everything that's happening. Why not find out your genetic expressions?
Absolutely.
And why not supplement for you to have your Ferrari in the best form?
Yeah, the simple, I always tell my friends, is either your car takes unleaded or diesel.
Yes.
That's just,
well, that's what we, in ancient medicine, Eastern medicine, we call that your constitution. Right. Funny enough, I was just having this whole conversation with Vince in the car driving him to basketball. Yeah. I don't know how it came up. I forgot until this moment, and I taught him. But what a neat thing to learn. I did from my father, who was my greatest teacher. And he always taught me about this. That's one of the number one things to understand about yourself, biohacking yourself, understanding your own body. In living meditation, my book, which is the principles. Number one, key number one is know your true self, mentally, physically, spiritually. But your constitution is what you're born with. You have to know that. By nature, not me, but I have to understand that I am this type of a person. When you come in front of me, I don't even know I do it by nature. I always say oh gosh, you guys don't understand. And I know exactly if you're taking care of yourself, if you're not. And I don't, it's not even in the front of my mind, but that's, I think by nature, I already see you, what type of constitution you are, what type of and then you that's how you take care of yourself.
Machiavelli.
The things you eat.
Knowledge of self. Knowledge of self.
I love Machiavelli as well. It's
so we felt grateful for our journey, right? Because we were able to remedy Legend's issues.
Beyond.
And he's thriving. We were able to remedy his obesity.
Sharing with the world.
He finally beat obesity after 41 years.
Yes.
And then our daughter completely detoxed out of her lymphatic stagnation issue through hydrogen baths. And then myself, I'm living my best life now after having a whole postpartum collapse, I call it. It was really a collapse. It could have gone totally the wrong route. And we felt so grateful for the opportunity that we had to sit down with so many people, to have connections like he had, for the doors to open up and to actually be financially stable, where I could just go crazy and test poop 10 times.
Sure. I mean,
you'd be surprised how expensive it is to test.
Those things are
beyond expensive.
Absolutely. Close to 1,000 each poop test, right? So I was like, I want his poop tested by this doctor, this doctor, this doctor, same thing. And I want to see if it's all the same. Right. Because that's the only way I will believe, right? Yes, he says gut. But sometimes your gut is also destroyed because you're dealing with health issues. Of course. Your gut could be scared. Your gut could lead you the wrong path also. So for me, I took the math approach of okay, just going to put the puzzle, literally statistics.
That's yin and yang as
compare,
well.
Exactly. Compare what's winning, who's winning here.
Right.
So that's the reason why we decided to put together documentaries.
Thank you. I was just going to ask. Okay.
They're streaming globally.
Well, the first impact was from Fat Lolli to Six Pack Lolli documentary.
Yes.
So we released that during the pandemic.
Yes.
So she was in media and entertainment, singer, actress, accomplished. I had been a very, very popular real estate broker where I grew my company from 1 location to 100 locations nationally as a brokerage and sold it. But before that, a lot of media, television appearances. I wrote a book. I had 100 people tattoo my company logo on themselves. So I was very good at making 100,000aires and millionaires working for me. And so, but I didn't have my health. That was the issue there.
Of course.
But so when I finally decided, all of us decided, we did a documentary and we released it. There were 2 famous documentaries during the pandemic. One was Tiger King on Netflix.
Oh my gosh, yes. Oh my gosh.
And the other one was From Fat Lolli to Six Pack Lolli on Amazon.
Amazing.
There were 2 schools of people. There were people that were getting sick and fat and just stopped working out and gaining weight, COVID weight. And then there were people that decided to start doing push-ups, started doing curls with gallons of water.
Right, I remember that. In the garage, it was a whole thing, right? And open your garage door if you live in certain areas.
And then people needed that light. So his documentary became absolutely viral.
It went viral.
And if I may say, it's been a minute since I've said it this way, but people ask me oh, Jenelle, you see there, Dr. Kim, you see where things stand now. Like I said, 20 years ago, I talked about all this. You did too, I think. I'm pretty certain. I don't want to make statements, but, and no one, this didn't mean, it was like I came from another planet. Medicine, mindset, meditation. It didn't exist. Clean beauty. There was no natural products. I was on the forefront of that. And again,
How
people have to know. How
satisfied are you right now? I told you so.
Well, Tereza, we're the same. So I'm grateful, but the second something great happens, I'm on to the next. Let's keep going. I only have so much time on this earth. I'm here for lifetimes, But what I wanted to say was that moment in all of our lives, which, look at us already. Already we keep moving, and that was extreme.
Yeah.
It was extreme. That's the universe, yin and yang. Where there's one extreme, it'll rebalance. I always say I don't know when it's about to, but the point being, that is a time that the entire world, in some way, was concerned about their health.
Yeah.
Yes.
No matter what.
That was a big time.
I think that God,
United.
above power, nature, whatever resonates, God, for me, that literally was like, all right.
Yes, it was.
Now we're at the extreme,
matters.
and you're all gonna, and still we had a choice. And enter what you're saying.
The impact of when people watch documentaries, much like a podcast, they're watching for facts and things that they can take action on. So the mindset, the mindset of a documentary filmmaker, a watcher, is someone who's like, I want to learn and I maybe apply some of this to my life. So
of course.
We recognize it just got a huge, we were getting 500 DMs a day, people wanting to lose weight, people thanking us that they're ready to commit suicide, men, women also calling us saying, you finally, what your wife did with you, I want to do with my husband.
I love that.
We were very open in the documentary. I showed the loose skin surgery I needed to get. Tereza, there was a scene that her and I were at odds about, but I said, we got to keep it in. It's a real scene. So when I did the surgery, I wasn't able to wipe my own butt. I couldn't even sit pooping down. I had to stand up.
It was a 360 tummy tuck.
Yeah, it was
We always have a joke. I had 2 babies and he had the tummy tuck.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. Did we find one that kind of...
yes. So she
but
was
he had
there.
He had to poop standing up because he couldn't bend. It was 360 stitches, blood bags.
Yeah.
It was kind of insane. So I had to wipe his butt and clean the whole thing because we're very private. So I wouldn't farm him out to a nurse or anything, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to do everything. I want to see everything. I want to analyze.
So she's breastfeeding legend while she's wiping my butt.
No, I breastfed him. I laid him down.
The strength
And
of
I was
a
like,
woman.
you cannot put that scene in there. People are going to think of me as the butt wiper. Like, this is not good. He's like, you don't get it. Do you understand how lucky I am to have a wife that loves me so much?
This is true.
Like, we have to put this to make it look what it was, the team that we actually insulated ourselves with, right? So he came across this coach because we started manifesting his transformation. We put a dream board photo and all that stuff. Somehow with his Instagram algorithm, this guy comes into the picture. So we actually move him in to live with us. He was a nutritionist and a trainer. He had a few other trainers on the side as well. We had my mom move in with us. His mom was there doing the meal prepping. It was me also. So it was a teamwork.
We got serious.
Team
We're in the
effort.
business of saving. We always joke, Tereza was Maha before we got involved with Maha, which was make Anthony healthy again.
Okay, I like it. That's amazing.
So-
We should
told
check
Belle.
the trademark. I just had on the post here. So there you go.
But yeah, so we built the team, and that actually, we got serious. We got serious. We filmed it. It went live. It won a bunch of awards, and it really helped. We realized the impact that it has when people watch documentaries.
Absolutely.
By the way, on Amazon or in most streaming platforms, there's less than 100 transformation documentaries.
Or health documentaries.
There's
Which
less
is
than
crazy.
100.
Well, I have some ideas, guys. We can talk
So
after.
right now
don't get me
we're at 12 and 59 awards. So from there we
12
started 12
documentaries,
documentaries. We've done one about loose skin surgery. That was amazing. That went viral. We did one about a famous guy named George Farah who was shot. He's a famous bodybuilding dietitian nutritionist.
Okay. Yeah.
Then he got struck with cancer and colorectal cancer, and he cured it through nutrition. This is a guy who, first of all, he coached
is
The Rock.
medicine.
He coached 132 pro athletes.
Right.
Well, he turned them pro. In fact,
They call him the
he's-
pro maker.
Yeah. He's insane. He's
So
very
he
good.
asked us to do a documentary about him. He wanted to create a book about his nutrition plan that beats cancer called Live It. Instead of diet, you don't want to die.
I like that.
Called Live It. So,
Okay.
so we did a documentary called The Guru. We had the honor of meeting and interviewing 32 of the most famous athletes in the world that he's coached, Mr. Olympian champions, the owner of the Mr. Olympia. We spent a lot of time with these people. This was before we got into the biohacking space. They were doing some form of biohacking, stem cell, PEMF,
For competitive
cold
athletes.
plunging.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And they were
Kind of like Wild Wild West.
Right.
Like they didn't really know how to. They
Yes.
hear red light and that's the only thing they do. Infrared sauna, that's the only thing they swear by.
But some of them with the extreme performance enhancing drugs did some damage.
Of course.
And they were reversing this damage through different things that we all know, modalities that we now understand are biohacking related.
Right.
So these were like little clues, right, that were thrown our way about that's interesting or that's interesting. And the subject matter was about their experience with George. So we didn't dive deep into those things. Off camera we did. Tereza's very curious. So she was talking to the wives of all these athletes.
That's
and she
very wise, actually. Yeah, I'm familiar with that. They know a lot. They've watched a lot.
And then simultaneously, we were on this quest to remedy our son's issue and our daughter's issue. And so we were introduced to a guy named Dr. David Minkoff. He's a very famous practitioner. And he did a documentary called The Root Cause. He appeared in that documentary that was shadow banned at one point. It was talking about, issues with the mouth, metal. And she said, what he's telling me, I've never heard, and he's really tying things together. I think we should really do a documentary and document this. Let's see where this goes.
Yeah.
He introduced us. He goes, if you're doing a documentary, you should really interview this guy and that guy and this guy and that guy. And it turns into 114 people. All of a sudden, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is in it. Dave Asprey's in it. Jim Quick is in it. Dr. Joe Mercola's in it. John Asseroff is in it. Vishen. Tom O'Brien, Steve Gundry.
I looked up to John Asseroff for such a long time.
From The Secret. I don't know if you ever seen the movie The Secret.
Bruce Lipton, Lisa Nichols, and now we're sitting across and like asking them about their longevity hacks. It was when we came across Stephen Klein, who's a biohacker, just, lives it, loves it, right? He had
a major car accident. He remedied it through biohacking modalities.
He put his body back together through biohacking.
Then he became a salesperson or working, they call them booth boys. When you go to the expos, they work in the booth.
Yes.
So he started working the booths of several modalities in exchange for getting free therapy and learning about it. So he really knew who was legit
10 years.
for a decade. So he worked for this company, that company.
Grow. He saw the companies come in and get out.
Yes.
He saw the influencers. He saw the big names.
Huge.
Correct.
So he was kind of like our casting director.
He was the casting director. We brought him on board. We put together a spreadsheet. Like, what do we want to cover in this documentary? It was one part originally. And we started having Zoom calls with the potential people that we wanted to bring them. And we took a different approach. We sat down. It was one of those 4 a.m. meetings that my husband and I often have.
Understood.
Those are the best meetings where we come up with this crazy idea. And then we must make it happen because if we say it and if it's on the paper, it's going to happen. So we said, just like we had to deal with all these issues, let's not bring only celebrity type of doctors and influencers who are hard to reach. Let's bring real founders. Let's bring and talk about real products that are making a difference, because we ended up using some products to heal Legend, to heal Love, to heal his obesity and my autoimmune condition. So we wanted to create a toolbox for the average person to eliminate the learning curve, to eliminate spending that $250,000 that we had to spend. Because imagine how many things we actually repeated that we didn't need to had we have the toolbox and the pathway. So we wanted to create a pathway for the average person. We said we were those average people. We found solutions. Let's now bring this to the masses. Let's bring this, in
a way, in the love language that they understand. See, the issue we were having was we had to find these answers, pay to find these answers, make phone. I had to call politicians. Can you get me an appointment with this doctor for it to happen?
Yes.
And also, when you go in the world of podcasts, you'll listen to Andrew Huberman talk to, let's say
David
Sinclair. They're talking about mitochondria, ATP, photobiomodulation, telomeres.
Sophisticated language.
What does that mean to a family, to a mom that's got a kid that has an MTHFR?
Myself, I say that at this point in my life, I say that I think one of my biggest roles in all the things that I, do to, with the best of my ability, follow through with my mission and duty of sharing what's been passed down is just to communicate properly.
That's it.
Because I always say my words, what I say, what I write, I'm not interested in it sounding pretty.
Right.
I'm here because I want to make a difference.
Right.
And same thing, Anthony, I think my number one thing with a lot of the help of Craig and the people close to me is, I'd had to be reminded so many times, you have to make it more simple, Jenelle, more simple. Very Taoist in that way. The most complex, but the most simple.
You know what we did? That was funny. We brought our kids who are child actors, very okay with cameras. In fact, they love it.
Yes.
At the time, our son keeps joking, says, I retired from acting to do documentaries with my parents.
Oh my God,
but they really did, because we actually kind kind of told the agents, the managers, we're taking a moment. Yes. We're going to do this Biohack Yourself documentary.
Absolutely.
We're going to title it Biohack Yourself because the slogan is go biohack yourself. So we said it to each other and it sounded funny. We're like, oh my gosh, go biohack yourself.
And that is key number one. Know your true self. You have to know yourself.
You have to do it yourself. So we would even bring our kids on set to some of the most complex topics.
Yes.
We would put them in front of the
understand that?
doctor. Yeah. It would be like, can you just explain the same thing to them?
That's so smart.
It was incredible how different, because it didn't matter that we said, hey, so, we're the average people. We're speaking to the average people. Right. Let's now talk about, let's say, brain health. And still, they were talking this language.
Yes.
It wasn't until we would replace ourselves with the kids for like 15 minutes that they would just totally simplify it. And it makes sense.
And it's important, especially now. Again, when I'm out and speaking or educate, whatever I'm doing, I often now say, like, why do we make life so much harder than it needs to be?
It needs to
we make
be.
things
It's
so,
very
and
simple.
it's a human way nowadays, right?
Yeah.
Like even we're kind of coming full circle because our time is almost. But we literally sat down together, and you started, Tereza, by saying how your upbringing.
Yeah.
And that is the difference. There's good and bad in everything.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
Tao.
Yeah.
But we have to remember that it really does come down to principles. That's how I was raised, right? And what a beautiful thing. I haven't said it in this manner, but my father, we're coming up on 10 years of him no longer being on this earth. Yeah. But I can't tell you how often, every single moment he's in my mind. He was truly one of the greatest healers, human beings ever in existence, in my humble opinion, and many others. But he taught principles. And the beautiful thing when you teach the foundations of understanding yourself, and that's the difference. That's why I say the Taoist immortals were the original biohackers. Yeah. And even for myself, when I'm writing books or doing these, particularly the book, even I went back to make sure, even though I knew, and literally the same things that they taught, that's what I'm still teaching in my lineage of Taoists.
Yeah.
10,000 years ago, you guys, 10,000. But actually, it's literally the same principles of what we're doing. And what I find is, and then you can expand on that, of course. Yeah. That's the balance.
But you see, you were so lucky to have that father.
Yes.
I was lucky to have my simple life. And he was lucky in many ways of, having this business savvy brain that is able to absorb information. But how many people aren't lucky enough to have that?
And it feels overwhelming.
Exactly.
And you lose hope.
And that's why we created Biohack Yourself Media, where when we finished filming, when the last interview happened, 114th interview of Biohack Yourself happened.
Yes.
We looked at each other, we're like, we're not even at the end. Like we could have 20 more episodes, but we're not going to do that. Instead, we're going to build a media company. Why is there a weather channel 24/7? Why is there ESPN 24/7? Why is there TMZ and E! News and everybody knows about J-Lo's breakups and Taylor Swift's marriages? Like those are not really important information that can help your life. So, we created Biohack Yourself Media, the social platform. Yes. We report on everything right now. We report on the White House, the CDC, the FDA. Yes. We report on journals. A lot of people now, a lot of scientists actually publish their work in our print magazine.
By the way, we look forward to your article coming out.
I can't wait. I'm so grateful. And I love that it, go ahead.
It's going to be in the Brian Johnson. Tomorrow, I think we're shooting Brian Johnson.
Yeah, we're filming Brian Johnson.
For the cover of the magazine.
We have some crazy ideas we're going to bring to life. Our mood board is sick for Brian Johnson. But, so like Biohack Yourself documentary has expanded into Biohack Yourself Media, Biohack Yourself print magazine, because this is tech-free wellness.
Tech-free wellness, by the way.
Tech-free wellness. You can
do not
sit
go
in your
hyperbaric chamber
with your cell phone.
You
can take Biohack Yourself into your hyperbaric chamber, into your infrared sauna.
You don't need to wear blue light blocking glasses to absorb that information.
Exactly. It's dubbed as the Vogue of longevity because it's fancy, it's high end, and health is fancy. Right now, biohacking is the hottest thing. It used to be for the elite, the celebrities, and the competitive athletes. And I always would ask him, I was like, I just want to go live in J-Lo's shoes for like 5 days and see what is she doing for so much energy. Like it's not even plastic surgery. It's not like that, right? She exudes youth, energy, and longevity. And I said, she's doing something. There's something. And of course, she's probably doing hyperbaric chambers every day, detox. She is a true biohacker. And I always wanted to uncover the secrets that the celebrities know and bring this to the masses. So we now serve as the bridge
So important.
The everyday person. Everyday person should be at the same level of understanding and knowing biohacking.
Well, I'll tell you, so not many people know this yet, but it'll be coming soon. I'm moving quickly because I know it's important. Same thing. You know it, and then you have to make it happen. Yeah. And it's called Sabu. And Sabu is kind of like the mother company. Again, so to help people to clarify, for example, what it is that I wish that I am out in the world doing, but then connecting all the people who truly, okay, we get the idea. I don't want to spend too long, but it will further help people understand, our lab and what we do. My platform of the 3 pillars, right? For example, we don't have to get stuck on that, but that's how this came about. Okay. But it is literally what Sabu means is it means masters, like the masters literally my father learned from his master in the mountains of Korea from the age of 7 to 14. I never grew up telling people this because they would have been like, what are you saying, Jenelle? People probably still, even my own self, it's my own father. Yeah. He was literally like from a movie, and that's where he learned, but these lineage of masters that are like from Kill Bill or whatever you want to say, right? Or teachers or experts. Hence that's why it's called the experts, So anyways,
when is that coming out?
So that's coming out very next week. But my point of, and we're moving fast because now we're going to do something on experiences. A lot of people come to me for events, and now to be a part of the teaching or the activation experience, but also now it's more consulting. Like, what do we do?
Well, you should announce it. So we have a female health documentary. We talk about it in this. All the editions we talk. It's called Shield. She Healed.
Yes, that's how we met. Actually,
and so there's 77 people in it. And it's premiering at the Cannes Film Festival in May.
Amazing.
So we're getting...
Actually, Dr. Amy Shah, 78.
Oh, she was on our show. She was, Dr. Amy Shah, that's what you said.
She just joined at the Xenos Health Conference. Yeah. She's like, I'm so sorry I never got to make it to the documentary filming. I was like, well... As we are in Saudi Arabia, we can set up an interview and interview you because we're at the last stages of editing. I was like, we can totally add you in.
I love her husband too. He did a transformation too. Amy Shah's husband was a little bit overweight, and this guy was like, once I saw him, I didn't know it was her husband. Yeah. I was like, what do you do for chest?
Yes, oh my God, I love that.
He was like, I know who you are, Anthony. I did a transformation just like you. Yeah. And we gelled on that.
So 78 people, right, in Shield.
Courtney's in it too.
Oh, Courtney Swan, so 79.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Courtney. Okay, she's in one of the groups.
Lara Trump's interview may end up in Shield. So 79?
Yeah.
Well, okay.
No, 80.
I'll be your 80.
Oh my gosh. We got to a round number now, 80. So, we're closing in 250 interviews because we're also filming our biological dental documentary right now.
I almost died, by the way, in July. I had a sinus infection that nearly killed me through malpractice. And then, I had a Dr. Andres Fernandez save my life. And, to be honest with you, I think he saved, Dr. Jay Gundy saved your mom's life.
My mom was definitely getting early onset and we didn't know what it was. Her body was like super clean, original biohacker, like fast every week, no parasites, like her stool is perfect. Her blood is perfect. Right. What was happening was she had 17 root canals and every root canal had a metal post and a metal cap.
Of course.
So metal, like engaging all the Wi-Fi,
There's a lot
the
of people
radiation.
sharing about this now. It's important.
Mold. There was like mold, parasites in her gums. Right. So we took everything out. We put ceramic implants. SDS is the preferred
We interviewed the owner and inventor of the ceramic, Dr.
Volz. Ulrich Volz.
This guy's a rock star too.
Incredible.
Everybody that we meet that's actually successful, they look amazing.
Yes.
They look younger every time we meet them.
Take care of themselves. We are interviewing some of the best biological dentists right now, and we're bringing on board some of the best tools that make biological dentistry possible.
Yes.
Things like Photona. What is Photona? It's a laser.
Right.
When you open the gum, you have to clean it with the laser. With ozone therapy, Promo Life Ozone is the preferred ozone for all the biological dentists. The SDS implant, they discovered that ceramic implant actually allows energy flow.
Yes.
So when you put ceramic implant, it's non-inflammatory. It's not metal, it's not amalgam, it's nothing toxic, and it allows for energy flow. So now you're actually able to
and your teeth directly connect to your kidneys. Your kidney tells your essence in Eastern medicine. So we got to discuss these.
Yeah, different organisms. In fact, I had one root canal here that had turned into a cavitation. Cavitation is when your gum and your bone is infected, and it actually encapsulates all of that.
It's absorbed quickly into your body because it's your mouth.
And it's got bacteria, and they're all harboring, and they found mold in there.
Yes.
And this one is directly attached to my heart and my small intestine.
Absolutely.
And I've had leaky gut for the past however many years, and I'm doing leaky gut protocol after leaky gut protocol, and it's still leaky gut. And you're finding the root. The root was
literally
right here. Literally the root.
What a great way to start
It's so evident. Like right now, our children at our relative's house. That's like 10 minutes away from here.
Yes.
And it's so coincidental. The mother of the son, who's a dentist, she has cancer. Tereza looks in her mouth. It's all metal.
Yeah.
She has like 8 metal.
She tells Tereza, she walks in the house because she walks in and she goes, I don't want to die. She says,
my heart is really heavy.
We go on a drive over here. She goes, my heart is heavy, Anthony. I was like, what is it? She goes, the lady that walked in, that's the mom.
You know, a lot of patients who already have cancer, they kind of gotten used to the idea that they're going to be maybe goners, especially she's like 82.
Yes.
But she actually has the will to live.
Right.
Yeah, my mom's 87.
Yes, understood. I know.
Yeah. So interesting what we've been discovering with Dr. Jerry Curatola, the godfather of biological dentistry, Dr. Jay Gandhi, who's amazing. I mean, they're already doing biological dentistry on a lot of celebrities, a lot of politicians.
Right.
The Javid brothers.
The Javid brothers right here in California.
Yeah, they're really nice. They just opened up.
Dr. Cody Krieger, like they're amazing. Dr. Dom, who actually I trusted to do my cavitations, my mouth.
You know Dr. Dom?
No, but I know that you just did this.
Yes.
Yeah, that was Dr. Dom. He's one of the originals.
Okay, good
and
to know.
he somehow manages to bring all the biological dentists together and unites them and says, we are a wolf
That's
pack.
how it should be.
That's how it should be, because a lot of times when you come up with these alternative methods, the pack within, they start fighting, infighting. Because now they're too focused on
that's also
but what bone grafting are you using, but what type.
We come in, and it's funny because we threw an event, we called it the Oscars of Longevity.
Yes.
We got Dave Asprey and Ben Greenfield in a room.
That's my fave. Because how often does it happen? You sit down and you actually talk, and then what you see is, whether you like it or not, we're coming from the same place.
So we got everybody there. It was 800 people, and all of them from the films, the Biohack Shield, and then the Dentistry one. They all got together. It was at the A4M, American Academy of Dentistry. They gave us the 14,000 square foot ballroom to host. It was amazing. We said, we all have to unify. Let's get them into the church. You can argue about how to pray, what Bible to use. If you pray on your hands with your hands together on your knees. Let's just get them in the church. I said, Tereza and I, we vow that this is no longer going to be
we'll come together.
an exhibitor reunion. We're going to all these conferences and everybody knows each other. I'm like, where's the new people?
Yeah.
We need the new people into this thing. You guys can't what is this, an MLM? Like everyone's buying from each other? I'm like, we got to get fresh people in. And you guys are not communicating to the outside world.
Right.
And we didn't discover you. We had to go and be shepherded and be brought indoors from a guy
a lot of the cast members don't even know each other.
Yeah.
And then a lot of the biological dentist cast don't know a lot of the biohacking yourself.
Productive or effective.
We're uniting the biological dentistry world with the female health, with the Biohack Yourself world.
Of course.
And with journalism
all
too.
Need to,
we're at Miami Swim Week.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
Yeah.
We're interviewing beautiful runway models, male and female.
Right.
Not about, we're asking them, what is your health hack? How do you biohack yourself? Turns out, Miss Ecuador had Hashimoto's. And she was an ugly duckling until she figured out what to do. Now she's modeling and winning pageants.
Of course.
A bunch of other people, they all had their own health journeys.
Of course.
And they're all doing something in the biohacking world, the meditative world.
You all are bringing it all together. I think that's a perfect note. We have to have a million more conversations together, which I have a feeling we're going to. The universe wants us to be together in some way, shape, or form. But I want you to know how grateful I am.
Thank you.
It's a really beautiful thing to know that, when you really find people who truly care and we're united in this, whether we're together all the time or not, it's inspiring. And what Sabu is about is... In fact, I have incredible branding people working on it. And
how do you spell it?
SABU. So I hope you all like it.
I like it.
It's a Korean word, as I said.
Yeah.
And so what I went out to, now people know after decades of doing this that I'm in the wellness and beauty industry. I don't think that's, a mystery. But because of that, literally in the branding, I have wellness space and I crossed out wellness and I said human space and that's what I'm hearing you say as well, because I also see this. I don't talk about it a lot because I want to be respectful. That's the truth. But, I'm also not afraid to speak up that we can never forget that all of this comes down to us being human.
Yeah.
So I'm so happy after decades, lifetimes.
Yeah.
You know, my father also walked through more challenge than I could ever even imagine because he did this before me.
Yeah.
People had no clue. A Korean man coming here in America, teaching, putting his whole heart, how he was treated.
What was his name?
That's a whole other Chull, Chull, iron.
Dr. Cho?
And my son now is,
Iron?
his middle name is Chull. Chull means iron.
Oh, got it.
And so what a beautiful thing in my humble experience and opinion. But my point being is we've come this far. So what I will be a part of as well, and I hear you both doing this, you know, there's always, it's life and it's humans. And so there can be the popular groups. We know how to be in those, do all the things. That's great. And I love it. But let us never forget that it is about being human. And so I'm really grateful that you all do this. I can't wait to see.
Support when you're,
yes, well, I mean, I think 100%.
And you got your brand book and everything?
Oh, yes, we have everything.
Can't wait to see it.
So thank you so much for being here. I wish we had all the time. I mean, I think I could stay here for hours. You know? Like, shoot, I have to get home to see my boys. But thank you.
Thank you for having us.
For joining us here in, you know, SoCal. And yeah, the world is very fortunate to have you both. So, and so am I.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.